Hello world and welcome back. I am Karhu, the Great Bear of the North, and this is Karhu Alexandria. And you've already seen the little teaser images, but we're gonna work on this. Oh yeah, I've got a boat ride. Not just any boat ride, I've got the Voyage of Heracles, because oh yes, this boat ride is supposed to take the Voyager on all 12 labors of Heracles, also known as Hercules. And I'll explain why. Oh, that appears to have been vandalized. No, it's been just been, just been broken. Just broke. Not been broken, it is simply broken. And what we're going to do is this is going to be kind of like a little fishing village. The water's going to continue down here. It's going to join up with the fountain that's going to kind of come down here. But for now, we're just going to build this up into a fishing village right down here. That's what we're going to work on today. And I'll explain a lot more about this ride in the time-lapse. Speaking of time-lapse. Okay. So, some of you may be asking, why Heracles? Why Hercules? What's the connection to Alexander the Great? Well, the connection is actually fairly simple. Alexander's lineage, going all the way back to great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfathers, say that they are directly descended from Hercules himself. So in a way, Hercules is like the totem for, like, the ancestral totem for Alexander's family. Alexander the Great looked up to Hercules very much, saw him as an inspirational figure despite all of the chaos and tragedy surrounding Heracles for much of his life. Because if you're not familiar with the Legend of Heracles, he was an illegitimate child of Zeus who had drawn the extreme ire of Zeus's wife, Hera. And even when Hercules was a very, very small baby, Hera tried to kill him, and Hercules just grabbed the snake that Hera had put in Hercules' crib and just choked the life out of it. And from then on, Hera kept on trying to interfere with him, and actually at one point in time drove Hercules insane and caused him to do an unspeakable, an unthinkable tragedy, and had him hurt his family in a way that can't be undone. And as penance for this, Hercules was told to do 12 labors that he did. Like, he was trying to... there are many different sources, many different legends of Hercules, but this is the timeline that I'm going with. He went on 12 labors, 12 impossible tasks in kind of a, at least the way I interpret it, a grief-filled rage at what he had done. And it's almost like he was trying to lose these things, or tried to put himself in super challenging situations so that at least, if something bad were to happen to him, he could say that he was trying. Anyways, these 12 were slaying the Nemean lion, and I apologize if I mispronounce any of these words, slaying the 9-headed Lernaean hydra, the golden hind of Artemis, which is a deer, capturing the Erymanthian boar, cleaning stables that had something like 2,000 cattle that lived there, and apparently these stables were really hard to clean out, so Hercules actually diverted our river because he had to clean the stables in a single day, and that's a lot of bull excrement. Slaying these Stymphalian birds, these man-eating birds, capture the Cretan bull, the father of the Minotaur, stealing the mares of Diomedes, and I'm getting this list from Wikipedia, but they're pretty good on this point. Obtaining the girdle of Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons, which ties us into A Midsummer Night's Dream, one of my favorite plays, which I might go with a little bit later on, but we'll see. Obtaining the cattle of the monster Geryon, stealing the golden apples of the Hesperides, and capturing and bringing back Cerberus, the 3-headed guardian of the underworld. And he did this while nude, wielding only a club. And later on, after he'd slayed the Nemean lion, he would use the lion's skin as his as like a cloak. And so he would do all of these things, and these were deemed impossible tasks. But yet, he accomplished them. And he goes down through history as arguably the greatest, most tragicest hero because of what he'd accomplished, but also the really dark origins of why he felt he needed to accomplish these. And I think for somebody like Alexander, and for many people after him, having a hero like this to look up to claim that this person's blood, and therefore the blood of Zeus, is running through your own veins. Again, just like ancient Egyptian pharaohs would capture crocodiles or bulls or hippopotami, this is a powerful statement. This is a powerful claim to authority, a powerful claim to power, to dominance, to respect. I mean, this is the same reason why kings, much later on, said that they were chosen by God. How do you refute that? Or the pharaohs claimed that they were gods themselves. How do you refute that? Right? You can't argue against, well, actually, no, sir. I don't believe that the divine leadership. And I mean, people did have these arguments later on about the origin of authority and the origin of government's power. But for a very, very long time, claiming godliness was, well, that was the best you could do. Anyways, now I'm getting socio-philosophical. But the point is, this boat ride in Planet Zoo, is based on the 12 Labors of Heracles. And obviously, some of these labors are going to be a lot easier to do in-game than others. Slaying the Nemean lion, I'm just going to use the West African lion and say that these are the North African lions or the European lions, which obviously did exist at this time. The Hydra, not so sure how that's going to work, but somebody on Reddit suggested I use several of the Indian snakeheads, so we're probably going to use that. The Golden Hind, cool, we're just going to have some deer. The Aramanthine boar, cool, some warthogs. The Augean stables, I might just build a building and call those the stables. It might just be a workshop, not a workshop, but it might just be a staff center and feeding center for other animals, but we're going to do that. Stimpaling birds, don't really know how that's going to work. The Cretan bull, obviously we're just going to use bison or something like that to refer to them. And later on in this video, you will see that I actually did use statues of the reindeer, of bison, of the lion, and of the wolves in order to create these 4 main creatures. And we're actually going to see these exclusively from the boat ride. The only way to see the lions or the deer or the boar in this zoo is going to be from this boat ride. So I expect it to be extremely popular. I did some testing, and it actually makes me something like $1,800 a year, which is pretty cool. The Cretan bull is just going to be the bison and things like this. But this boat ride also goes underneath the mountain. It goes underneath. It kind of looks in the back of the hippopotamus area as well. And once this is kind of finished, I don't know how much detailing we're going to do on the interior portion of the ride. But ideally, there would be scenes within there that would show Heracles fighting off, the Stymphalian birds or Cerberus or things like this. But we just simply don't have the pieces, and I don't think my computer has the processing power to deal with all of that, so we might have to leave it a little bit open. So why am I doing a boat ride? For the simple fact that a lot of my guests are complaining about how much they're walking. I'm walking too much. Well, if you want a spacious zoo, you need to walk a lot. Contributing to this is sometimes it gets to 47 degrees in North Alexandria, born and raised. And so, having a place where they can stay cool, because the water is always cooler. This water is cooled to 25 degrees, so just even being on the water is going to feel a lot cooler, a lot more refreshing than it would be anywhere else in the park. Like you can already see that the lines for this ride are quite long. I originally wanted 12 boats, one for each of the labors, right? And then we could name each of the boats after one of the labors, like the Alexandreia or something like this. But people were then waiting for like 13 real-time minutes to get on the boat, and that was absolutely tanking the guest happiness, and therefore the park rating. So I dropped that, and we went up to 20, the maximum. And it's still super popular. People are still waiting for 5 or 6 minutes, which boggles my mind, because I'm charging them $30 a pop to go on this boat ride, and currently there are no animals on this boat ride. I haven't installed any of those habitats. We haven't done any of that. I'm just building the station. And I love the station. I think it's a great station. I'm very proud of this station. This turned out better than I thought it would. But there are no animals. What will happen? How popular will this be once I add the animals? I'm a little bit worried that having this boat ride is actually going to tank my park rating. So I don't exactly know how I'm going to deal with that. Maybe I'll just make the line shorter. Do something like that. But it's something I'm going to have to deal with a little bit later on. But what I'm really happy with is the layers to this. Both the historical layers, the references to Heracles, and thus to, Alexander's inspiration. We're also doing a tour of some of the animals. Like, I like how everything kind of comes together. But what I really particularly like is the architectural layers. The boathouse, where you actually get on and off the boats, is designed to be kind of an open-air warehouse, where things would just be temporarily stored after they were taken off boats. In this case, it's a small fishing village. And if you'll see from the obverse side of this station, there are actually docks with some fishing poles going off them and some boats that are being moored there. But so this is so they're in a small little warehouse. And rather than just have the warehouse just kind of be blocky and gross, I figured, let's put a platform up top. Let's see what we can go do up there. And then I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great place for a restaurant. So then I had to build in the restaurant area, and then that just looked a little bit too blocky. So then I built this lion tower, which you will see a little bit later on. It's the tower that has the 4 lion faces on it. And I like the tower for 3 reasons. One, it references in some ways the design of the famous Pharos, of the lighthouse of Alexandreia, one of the ancient wonders of the world. That there's 3 different tiers. In this case, it's rectangular, octagonal, and then square, whereas the original one was square, octagonal, circle. But this actually does function as a lighthouse. I haven't even built it yet, but I'm telling you about it. It does function as a lighthouse. There is a ring of fire in a cauldron at the top, which was one of those effects that I'm also super pleased with. But the other reason I named it the Lion Tower is because there's 4 lion heads. And one of my favorite defunct video game studios, if you followed my channel, you definitely know this, is Lionhead Studios. The people that made Black and White, the people that made the movies, and this followed movies, stunts, and effects, the people that made Fable. And I really, really like their games. Spore. Was Spore Lionhead? Spore was Peter Molyneux. I don't know if it was Lionhead. But I really liked their games. So making a Lionhead Tower is just one of those additional nods to me and to what I enjoy in video game history and things like this. And right now what I'm building, just going back to tying things back to the video, what I'm building is this is going to be the exit of the tunnel area filled with mist and everything like that. So it's like as you are returning to the world freshly after having defeated Cerberus on the 12th of Heracles' labors, he would, and you in the boat would emerge from the mists. And I just think I like that. I like that. I like the theatricality of this. Like, I know it's a zoo, yes, but this is a very mythological zoo. And so, well, maybe I could put hyenas as Cerberus. Never mind, I'm getting sidetracked. But this is very much a mythological zoo. I mean, much of what we think we know about Alexander the Great is myth, just passed on by people who didn't know him, writing after the fact, or even official court biographers who are more likely to spin fables in order to increase his legend than tell the truth. They were very much propagandists at the time, as most official court documents are. A court in terms of like kingly court, not in terms of legal courts. But, like I said, much of what we know about Alexander is a fable, or at least much of what is popularly known is a fable. Much of what we know about Heracles, obviously, is a fable, seeing as Heracles is most likely a mythological figure. But I was going somewhere with this, and if I'm perfectly honest, I forgot, because I diverted quite significantly from the notes that I originally created. Oh, yes, theatricality. We can put... Like, I have nothing against realistic zoos. I have nothing against realistic zoos. I think the zoos that people are making in Planet Zoo that are realistic are absolutely beautiful. But I want to push the envelope. I want to see what else we can do. And so I love the fact that, you know, I made a boat ride that emerges from a hellmouth. I think that's pretty cool. Later on, I actually add torches, wall torches to the exit, so at night it kind of has this fiery glow from within, which again, I think is pretty darn cool. And I think this fishing village, only one half of which I've created, I'm going to put the houses on the other side, is going to be the eastern terminus of this zoo. Basically, it's going to be sandwiched between the hippodrome and this fishing village, the Heraklean village with the Heraklean market. And so I think the lighthouse, kind of, to borrow a term that Silverette would use a lot. And if you haven't seen Silverette's videos on YouTube, check out Silverette's videos. Silverette is one of my major inspirations for this. Silverette uses the term weenie a lot. This kind of monument or landmark that you can see from most areas of a park, or in this case a zoo, that you can use as a reference point. The castles in Disney parks, perfect weenie. The again, going back to Disney parks, Space Mountain in a lot of them, the mountain ranges, weenies. The Tree of Life at Animal Kingdom is a weenie. I forget the name, but the mountain in the center of Canada's Wonderland, Wonder Mountain, is a weenie. You can see it from everywhere you go, and so you can just kind of always orient yourself. And I haven't been to many zoos that have these big visible landmarks no matter where you go. And so I think adding a weenie like this is the eastern edge. You can always orient yourself to that. We already have the temples on the hill up top, and we have the hippodrome. I think with these things you can always kind of figure your way around the place, and I think that's, at least from a park design perspective, I think that's useful. You don't always constantly need to be referring to maps, to apps or anything like this. You can just be like, oh, I want to go to the lions. I need to see the lions on the boat ride, and the boat ride is underneath that tower. So I'm just going to meander and wander over to that tower. And so long as you get to the lion head tower, you're good, right? To me, it's just just makes good design sense. Okay, so as to what's next for this particular Planet Zoo series, I definitely want to continue building up the Voyages of Heracles. Bunch of habitats, the lions, the boars, or the warthogs in this case, the bison, and the reindeer, or I guess I can use the new European fallow deer, that makes sense, for the golden hinds. But beyond that, I'm starting to... there's so many little gaps that I want to fill in. I do need to have a home for the Nile monitors. The Nile monitors, the cheetahs, and the aardvarks that are already at the front of the zoo. I need to rebuild those. And I want to fill up the top area. This is going to take a while. I anticipate just this is going to take us to 20 episodes. Beyond that, I mean, I've got 20 more weeks, I guess, to come up with ideas. Or 13 more weeks to come up with ideas for those areas. But if you do have any ideas on what else I should be adding to this park, to this zoo, I mean, yes, more habitats within the hippodrome, build up the temple area up at the top, and continue the voyages of Heracles. But if you have any suggestions for things that I could add in addition to that, please let me know. Please do let me know. And if you want to sponsor an animal, let me know. I'll make some plaques for you guys. We can add those in. But just kind of get a little bit of inspiration, because quite frankly, this Voyages of Heracles doc, I'm super proud of. Super proud of. And if I can continue this consistency throughout the rest of the park, I'm going to be super satisfied. And now looking back on the things I built at the beginning, the first hippo keeper's house looks kind of bland in comparison. I'm even looking at things I did just 2 episodes ago in terms of the underground temple. And I'm like, there's so much more I could do to that. But I have so many other ideas that I want to do first, so I don't know if I should go back and try to make things better, or if I should just continue with what I'm doing. But I'm inspired by this, and I'm inspired by so many things. So, like, what are your inspirations? What are your inspirations? If you have any inspirations that you think might fit with the aesthetic that I'm trying to build here, please, by all means, let me know. Sound off in the comment section below. If you have any constructive criticism or suggestions or ideas, please let me know. I will 100% give you credit. And yeah, I'm just super pleased. And I know I'm going to be saying this again in the final tour at the end, but I'm just very, very pleased with how this worked out. And here's the lighthouse moment. This giant cauldron that is probably, for something that only really looks spectacular at night, and night in this particular zoo is only like 5 seconds of real time. But for something that only really looks spectacular at night, this is probably a lot of effort and a lot of processing power and a lot of props just for that one moment. But I think it's worth it. At dawn and dusk, this thing really does light up. And once the area around this is a little bit more filled in, I'll give you some night shots. I haven't even done lighting on the vast majority of these buildings, just because I don't do zoos at night. It doesn't really make for great YouTube videos. But I may do that at some point in time and do a nighttime tour with everything as well. But yeah, here's all the torches. Here's all the Arctic wall lights that I used for this. And I think it looks pretty good. But we're running out of time in this time lapse. We only have about 30 seconds left. So I just want to say, if you've been listening to all of this time lapse, thank you. Thank you very much. I know sometimes I'm rambling. I know sometimes I go on tangents. I know sometimes I forget my place, forget my spot, what I was talking about. But if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please let me know about anything. If there's anything you want me to rant on about during these time lapses, again, please let me know, and I'll definitely consider answering any and all of those questions. Well, there you have it, folks. The Heraklean market is, well, at least this part of the Heraklean market is finished. And oh my goodness, am I pleased with this. Yes! This is exactly the kind of vibe that I've been going for this entire time, and I finally got it. I'm done. I'm out of YouTube. I'm finished. This is it. Not going to get any better than this. Probably not. But, so, as I mentioned in the voiceover, which I haven't recorded yet, so this is kind of weird, but we've got little mentions of the 12 Labors of Heracles. We've got the hind here. We've got the Cretan bull. Nope, that's the Nemean lion down there. We've got Cerberus just hiding in the bushes right there. We have the hind right here. Because this is the voyage of Heracles, this ride. And let's just go on this ride. You go through first the Pillars of Hercules, which is at the western edge of the Mediterranean, where Heracles apparently helped Atlas hold up the world. So the Pillars of Hercules are actually legitimate geographical features. So you go through the Pillars of Hercules. We go right through here. We kind of walk behind these guys. Probably want some kind of a filtering system here. Not filtering system, but just kind of a barrier there just to separate the two. You walk along here, and we see this market. Not a market, a warehouse for the docks. We're going to go through. Oops, I forgot to add one more labor. I will do that. Then you get on the boats, and you've got the Labors of Heracles on the mosaics around here. And we'll just hop onto this boat. Let us go right onto the ride. That's underwater. Nope, that's not the one I was looking for at all. This is mildly awkward. But hey, you see that other than the main entrance, we have absolutely nothing of the voyages yet. But this is what it looks like when you go out. Right? There you go. Oh, there's nobody on this one. That's a little bit weird. Not gonna lie, that's kind of creepy. No. Let's go to the next one. Are people on this one? Come on, people. Get on the boat. There we go. We've got people on the boat. This is good. And then we go out of the harbor. Down here, this river will continue down this way to meet up with the Hippopotamus River, which is great. And then we go out here, we go back down through the fishing village. There's a restaurant over here that overlooks everything. We've got weeds growing up around the docks. We've got a couple people fishing. In case anybody's wondering, those aren't just floating there. They're actually wedged into the boards. So that's how that stands up. And then we've got all of this, and then they go in here. But when they come out, this is what I'm really excited about. When they come out of the voyage, because there's this big, massive tunnel in the Voyages of Heracles, this is where you get the Hydra. This is where you get Cerberus. They come out of this misty, like, underworld kind of thing. And it is so very cool, if I do say so myself. I love the effect. But up here, we have a restaurant. I think it's beautiful. I think it's very beautiful. Not many people are using it right now, but we do have tables up here on the upper levels of this tower. And this is indeed the Lion's Tower, or the Lionhead Tower, because I love Lionhead Studios games. But it's also because the Nemean Lion is one of Heracles' first labor. And this is indeed a lighthouse. There's even a trapdoor up there in order to access the torch. Yeah, and at night this looks super cool. You saw a photo of that, an image of that in the earlier intro video. But yeah, and we've got the Nemean lion, we've got the Cretan bull, we've got the, I forget which one that is, but that's the boar. There's the Hydra. There's the apple of the Hesperides. There's the hind, there's Cerberus, and then there's cleaning out the muck from the statues. He is diverting a river. So all in all, I am I forgot to do this one. But overall, I'm very, very happy with this. People are walking right through the fountain. I need to fix that. I will fix that. But this is very, very cool. I'm thinking over here, we've replaced the aardvarks, which is why I haven't worked on this area yet. And then all around here, we're going to have we're going to have lions and the bulls, and we're going to have the warthogs as the wild boars and these kinds of things. So I'm really looking forward to the next few steps. I have the next 3 or 4 videos pretty much planned out what I'm going to do. And this is going to be another temple complex with baboons. Baboons, I know baboons aren't in the game, but we're going to use the mandrill as a replacement. We're going to put like an Egyptian temple up here. And oh my goodness, this area is fun. I love it. If you like it, please give me a shout out. Let me know what you think. If there's anything I can improve, let me know. But overall, I'm very happy with this. Oh, little thing. I don't normally do this, but here's a little staff door, kind of hidden around the corner, which I'm pleased with that one too. But if you like what you see, please like, please subscribe, please comment. Most importantly, have a fantastic day. I really do mean this. And I hope that this Heraclean market gives you a little bit of joy to your day, because I'm still kind of actually blown away that I made this. Have a great day, everybody.